Hey friends, I got something to tell you. Okay, I tried to tell you. I tried. I really did try. But some of you did not believe me. I have gotten several messages this morning from people who watched my stories and said, oh gosh, now I need to order that book. I'm pretty sure you judged a book by its cover. Friends, I know. I've done it too. I actually love a pretty cover. I'm an Enneagram 4. I love anything pretty. I'm very picky about my graphics. You know, I get it. But in this instance, I have to say, I told you so. So, I showed you guys this book. I am rereading it with you guys every morning in March, 40 Days to a Joy-Filled Life. And you guys, just don't judge a book by its cover, okay? I promise, this is one of the best books I have read on mindset, changing your thoughts, finding joy even in the midst of difficult circumstances. So to prove it to you, now I read a little bit this morning on my stories, but I thought I'm just going to go live on day 1 of 40 Days to a Joy-Filled Life that we're doing every morning together. And I'm going to read to you a little bit again because apparently some of you did not heed my advice. And this morning when I shared a quote or two in my stories, I got messages. Oh, I got to buy this book now. Oh, you were right. It is good. And I'm like, I told you so. I really told you so. Do you guys not trust me? Come on. I'm disappointed you don't trust me, but that's okay. That's why I hopped on to do this live video. I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm not usually in the sarcastic category, and so when I am a little bit sarcastic, I'm like, do people think I'm being rude? I don't know, since it's kind of out of my typical. So anyway, I'm going to share a little bit from the introduction and from day 1. Oh, good, Jenny, your book is coming tomorrow. Oh, good. Jenny said she ordered before today. So I read this book a few years ago. Actually, in the front of my book, the first time I read it was October 2016. Do you like to put the date in your book when you read it? I did that. I may have actually read it. I can't remember. That's probably the first time I read it, but I've read it a few times since then. And then we're going through it together on my stories this month. If you want, you can go to my blog post and you can get some more printable affirmation cards that match these other ones with the verses. Oh, you can't really see that very good. With the verses, here's a darker one. Well, not really. Anyway, there's affirmations to go with each day of this. Y'all, it's so good. It is so good. Okay, so in the introduction of the book, it says, being full of joy doesn't mean that your life is perfect. It means that you trust that God has good plans for your life no matter what is happening right now. It's an outward sign of an inward faith in God's promises. That's one of my favorite quotes from this book. I'm going to read it to you one more time. It's an outward sign of an inward faith in God's promises. So what this book is based on, he calls it the 4-8 principle, and he actually has a book called the 4-8 principle, which I actually have not even read all the way through. I don't even know but I like this one more because it's practical. So the original book kind of went through the whole concept. Then this one breaks it down into 40 daily readings, and it's very practical, you guys. And like I showed you before, like I have pages and pages, like it's just, the whole thing is underlined. So, if you didn't believe me, I'm sorry, but you should believe me next time. I don't recommend books that are bad. I know books are very much based on preference, and I don't love the cover either, but I promise what's on the inside is really good. Okay, let's look at day 1 for a minute. So day 1 is called Think This, Not That. And so the whole premise, Philippians 4:8, which would be a great verse to memorize this month. Whatever is true, noble, lovely, right, pure, admirable, think on these things. So what are the things you're filling your mind with? Which column do they go in? Are they true, noble, lovely, right, pure, praiseworthy, admirable, excellent? Or are they in the other category? Negative, destructive, untrue. Are they lies? So I love, if you watched my stories this morning, you heard me talk a little bit about this, but I love the analogy at the beginning of this book. It compares our physical body to our mind. And it says, a healthy body produces energy. A healthy mind produces joy. And he talks about, like, when you get healthy physically, what are the things you're putting into your body? So you need to put good things into your body if you want to have energy. And most of the time, that's like based on, for instance, food. Like, are you eating clean, healthy veggies, fruits? Or are you eating sugar and processed food and ice cream and chips and fast food and soda? One of those is going to produce energy for your body. One of those actually is going to deplete your energy. Well, it's the same thing with your mind. Don't you love that analogy? Does anybody else love that analogy as much as I do? What you put into your mind is going to, just like what you put into your body creates energy, what you're putting into your mind is going to create joy, or it's going to deplete your joy. So that is what he has here in the first day. He says, joy is a state of mind that must be purposely cultivated if you are to live and love and influence others as God intended. Fortunately, joy does not depend on the outer conditions of your material life, but rather on the inner condition of your mental life. Joy is the result of something strikingly simple, though not easy. Consistently thinking, joy-producing thoughts. So if you feel physically just crappy all day, every day, what are you going to do? You're going to examine your health. You're going to you should start examining your health. What am I eating? Am I moving my body? Am I drinking enough water? Am I sleeping? Are my hormones out of whack? Okay, all of those things contribute to your physical health and energy. What you put in your body matters. What you put into your mind matters. Do you let yourself wallow? Who wants to comment and just confess that you are a fellow wallower? So that's my tendency. That is what I spent the first 40 years of my life. I mean, I don't know when I was 2 years old, but I would think this, oh, she doesn't like me. And then I would let my mind, well, she didn't say this, so it must mean this. And oh my gosh, I bet this. And why? She probably think, when we have the power and the ability to turn that off and to stop it. Why I didn't learn this until I was a grown old adult, I don't know. But I never learned the power of renewing our minds and being transformed by that renewing. We have the Holy Spirit within us. We choose what we put into our physical bodies. We choose what we put into our minds. What are you putting into your mind? What are you letting yourself think about? Think this, not that. So when we train it takes practice, you guys. It's not just like all of a sudden I wake up and I feel motivated to change my thoughts. No, it takes practice. And actually this was one of my main goals for 2021. Starting on January 1st, you guys probably remember, I had a list. Well, here they are. I had a list. Well, not a list, but I have all these cards with thoughts on them. And they are truths based on kind of the opposite of what I was believing. So like whatever lie I was struggling with, whatever negative thought I was struggling with, I turned it around and I wrote down the positive, the affirmation, the truth, so that I could practice the new thoughts. It really does take practice. And I have good days and bad days. A few days ago, I had a day where I just was like, I kind of turned around a situation in my head a million different ways, and in none of those ways were positive or true. And that's what gets me. So often we get stuck on this idea that's not even true. So that is the number one reason I created these scripture affirmation cards, and I made them kind of pretty so that you could print them. I printed these on cardstock and carry them with you. So it's kind of like my cards with my true statements on them. But anyway, so that's kind of what he's talking about in day one. So since you are free to choose what you think about and you have billions of options, what specific thoughts should you increase to become joy-filled? What specific thoughts should you decrease? Well, I can tell you right away the ones I know I need to decrease, right? And sometimes it has become so much a habit that it's really, really hard work. I'm just going to tell you, it's really hard work. But that's okay. We can do hard things, and I'm becoming a stronger person because of it, right? Right. So here's some kind of this little list he gives. Think excellent thoughts, not mediocre thoughts. Think focused thoughts, not scattered thoughts. Think loving thoughts, not indifferent thoughts. Think constructive thoughts, not destructive thoughts. Think helpful thoughts, not hurtful thoughts. Think successful thoughts, not failure thoughts. Think faith thoughts, not fear thoughts. Think bold thoughts, not comfort thoughts. Think opportunity thoughts, not security thoughts. And I don't think he means like the comfort of the Lord. I think he means like when you're in your comfort zone, which for a lot of us, that negative thinking has become our comfort zone, right? So he's saying we have to break free from that. Think grateful thoughts, not entitled thoughts. Think abundant thoughts, not lacking thoughts. Think reconciliation thoughts, not retaliation thoughts. So no matter what someone else does to us, no matter what our circumstances are, no matter what, and like I said, I haven't perfected this, but we have the ability to choose how we think about a situation. That's one of the things that Edie has told me time and time again. What are you making that situation mean? Like, here's the circumstance. The circumstance is what happened with no emotion tied to it. What are you making it mean? And you know what? Almost every single time I was making it mean something negative and something destructive about myself. Well, she said this, so I must not be worthy. I must be a bad friend. I must be this, that, or the other. Well, are those thoughts helpful? Are they even true? But yet I would wallow in it. And I would stay in that place instead of training and practicing the new thoughts. Like I said, it's hard and it takes practice. A lot of practice. And I wouldn't even say that practice makes it perfect, but I would say that practice does make it easier as time goes on, or it makes you better at it. It makes you more aware. And one of the first issues is to be aware, because if you've gone years and years and years with this negative thinking habit, it's going to be harder to break it, right? Just like any other bad habit that you have that you're trying to replace, but you have to replace it. If you want to break free from it, you have to think this, not that. You have to replace those negative thoughts, those thoughts that are not true, those lies from the enemy, and you have to replace them with truth. It's hard, it takes practice, but that is what we have to do. And that's what you have to ask yourself. This is something I'm asking myself when I get up in the mornings. Who do I want to be? Do I want to be this person that thinks all these negative things and wallows and is no fun to be around and cries all the time? And, there's nothing wrong with crying. But if I'm crying as a result of wallowing on something that's not even true, not helpful. Not helpful. So who do I want to be? Do I want to be that person that wallows? Do I want to be that needy, clingy, jealous, whatever it is you're struggling with? Is that who I want to be? And if the answer is no, which for me, the answer is no, all those things that I have been and can be, no, that's not who I want to be. I want to be a joy-filled, confident, woman who walks in truth, in the freedom and the truth of who God created me to be. In order to do that, I have to make the choice each and every time, all day long. It's not just a once and done thing. Think this, not that. So I have to be aware, first of all, that those negative thoughts are just swirling around. I have to cut it off, just like you would retrain a little 2-year-old to not get into the electrical outlet. You have to redirect, right? We're redirecting our little 2-year-old minds and changing our thoughts, giving us a distraction, redirecting it to something more helpful, to thinking about the person that I want to be, the thoughts that are helpful, the thoughts that are true, noble, lovely, right, pure, emphasis on true. Guys, for so long, it's been mostly lies, and it's become a habit, so it's going to take work. But you guys, it is so worth it. You know the verse, Proverbs 23, verse 7? As a person, I think it says, as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. So is he. That phrase, we become what we behold. The things we're focusing on, think about it. If I'm sitting there thinking about how awful my life is, am I going to be a joyful person? Am I going to be that joy-filled, confident, content, grateful person that I want to be? That's who I want to be. So I need to think grateful thoughts. All right, guys, I hope this has impacted you as much as it has impacted me. That is a little bit from day one. If you go up to my stories, you can see the little square. You can save those to be a phone wallpaper. The one for today says, I am free to choose my thoughts. And that, to me, I just even need that reminder. In this moment, I'm free to choose. I can choose to wallow. I can choose to believe this lie. I can choose to believe, oh, she doesn't like me. Or I can choose to, we're going to learn later in the book that compassion preserves my joy. So if it's a person you're struggling with, how can you have compassion on that person? They are a broken person just like me. So I'm free to change my thoughts. I am free to think this, not that. Think on these things, whatever is true, noble, lovely, right, pure, and admirable. Not the lies, not the negative, broken records that we're so tempted to sit and wallow in. All right? So join me every morning. I promise, this book is really good. Don't judge a book by its cover now, you guys. I told you. I tried to tell you. And you guys didn't believe me. So that was day one. Join me every morning up in my stories, and we will be going through another day. And there's an affirmation statement every day. You can go to my blog at the link in my profile if you want to print them. You can print them on pretty little cards and carry them with you and start practicing those new thoughts. All right, guys. Love ya. See you later.